A scan does not tell you how to treat a problem. The most important aspect of low back treatment, resolution, clinical reasoning comes from your assessment as a professional. So when a patient comes in to see me with an arm full of MRIs, I tell them to put them in the corner. You see, identifying the structure does not tell you how the structure behaves with that person. You can see this wonderful spine here by Dynamic Disc Designs, the best models. You can imagine this disc here being identified as the structure that's causing the problem. But it doesn't tell you what happens when the person flexes, doesn't tell you how it behaves when a person extends, doesn't tell you how it handles compression, doesn't tell you about how the muscles at the back of the spine might produce posterior shear forces. They may be intolerant to those. They may have some compression intolerance from their psoas. Knowing a structure doesn't tell you how to treat a problem. It's a bit of information, but clinical reasoning is the way you get people better. There was a term, non-specific low back pain, that is entirely useless in clinical practice. In fact, it was first developed in 1956 by Shaw and Taylor. Now, at that point, Shaw and Taylor said, with the available investigations we have, we cannot adequately identify the source of a problem. The failure is there straight away. Looking to identify the source without trying to identify how the source behaves under certain conditions. Sitting static postures, dynamic lifting postures, there's so much to it. You need to understand how a person moves in their daily life. You need to understand what are the aggravating and easing factors. When you can do that, you've got clinical reasoning. There was a great surgeon called Waddell, did some wonderful work. Back in 1987, he wrote that non-specific lower back pain as a term has no intellectual or scientific adequacy. Basically, it doesn't help us understand anything. Clinically, you need to know how a structure behaves. You don't even need to know the structure, you need to know the behavior of forces upon a human body. If you're bright and you spent a lot of years studying, you'll be able to figure out what that structure most likely is through your clinical experience and understanding how research really is applied. Even here, 2023, I've read terrible research written upon such stupid ideas as what happens when you put a flexion exercise on a person or an extension exercise on a person and both groups are non-specific lower back pain. Well, that was the way the terminology was never meant to be used. It's so clinically inadequate. And it shows a failure of research that a peer research review could actually publish such absolute rubbish because it was never meant to be done that way. All the people have always said who have done this good work that it's a term that simply has no adequacy and requires further investigation. So if you want to understand how to get your patients better, you need to know how to assess both subjectively and objectively. And that takes a bit of experience, and then you can marry it to the academic work and you'll be pretty darn good at what you do. Enjoy. Remember, there is no such term as non-specific lower back pain that has any clinical relevance to you as a practitioner. Read the MRI last, assess first, but you better know how to do that, huh? Stay big, train hard, and everything is specific.